friends of mine. They better be going on here and doing something about this. It's been a couple of weeks. I've actually had a request. Good friend of mine, Tracy, yesterday. Hey man, you need to get on. Well, okay. I'm going to get on. I told him I would. Going to do a little prognosticating on political things. We got a presidential election coming up. And we've got some real nutcases running for president. Totally unqualified. Of course, you know me. They're Republicans. I have my usual pinko self. I'm a Democrat. And all I see in the Republican candidates is bad stuff. So, but before I get to that, it's warming up down here at Siegel South. I mowed yesterday. It has been rainy here. We're having what we almost might call a wet spring. The springs weren't supposed to rain here, but past few years the springs have been relatively dry, and our lakes have been drying up, and the rivers have not been flowing as they should. So the man-made reservoirs, some of them are 60% down. A lot like California. I don't think it's bad. I think California's in worse shape, particularly now, because since the first of the year, maybe slightly before, we've been getting good rains. And one of the things that's happened here about 2 months ago, and we have about 2 acres of lawn. Now, a lot of grass areas down here in Texas, a lot of times they're considered to be pastures, but I tell all my friends that is not a pasture, that is a lawn. So I fertilized it. I have a little garden tractor and a little dispenser that pulls behind it, going out and got about, 6-8 bags of fertilizer. And tried to set that silly thing. It's got a little feed hole out the bottom of the dispenser and a little whirly gig that supposedly stirs it up so it'll fall through the feed hole. It's very difficult to get that thing set right. It either all runs out in the first 5 feet, or you can't get it to come out at all. Anyway, with a lot of modulating, you finally get the thing to where it's spraying that out and you ginning around. And I fertilized it. We have a winter grass here. It's called ryegrass, and boy, that stuff like that fertilizer, my gracious. Since the rains have came, I have to cut once a week, and that's unusual here in Texas. Usually it takes some time for the grass to be able to grow back up. Sometimes take a month. Not anymore. Boy, I mean, it grows up in a week. It'll grow that much in a week, and probably a combination of things, my fertilizer and the rain. But my yard has runs of dead grass in it where I've mowed it down, and of course the mower throws it off in a, dispenses it off in a row beside me. And I have green grass with dead grass laying on top of it, green grass, dead grass, green grass, dead grass, but I guess it's better than just all dead grass. Dog is barking. Anyway, mowed yesterday. I feel certain I'll have to mow again in following Saturday. It's about once a week now. Just got back from Dollar General. My dog is pestering me. I'm gonna have to shoe my dog, so bear with me. Go away! Thank you. I think that worked. There isn't anything more disconcerting than trying to do one of these and the dog's barking and the wife is coming through the door and whatnot. So I tried to tell him, hey, I'm going to go in, I'm going to lock myself in, I'm going to do me a prognostication. Anyway, dog doesn't understand that word. I went to Dollar General today. Batteries, mouthwash, and some other things that I needed. I want to say happy birthday to that youngest son of mine, Kyle. His birthday was yesterday. He was 40. I can't believe that. 40. Of course, I was 36 when or 35 when he was brought into the world, so I guess he could be 40. But Lord, love a duck. Doesn't seem possible. Carl's birthday is in September. And he is 45. Could soon to be 46. Lord love a duck. Not possible. But, all things considered, you know, they've done all right. They figured out a way to support themselves. And I love them both. So that's the story of my son's got a birthday in hand. What else? Don't have any local news. I have sent my HF amateur rig off to the state of Washington. It quit on me. And the only guy I know that I'm aware of that fixes them is up in a place called Toledo, Washington. My radio is up there and probably will be up there for several more weeks. And I'm having a Donnybrook with UPS. Gave him $150 for a round trip postage up there and back, and they're not going to recognize the return postage that I gave him, and they won't give me my money back. Unbelievable. A company the size of UPS has got $71 of your money in their coffers. They just don't have any way to send it back. I got tempted to go get me a lawyer and just sue the behoozes out of them for, you know, mental duress, because it's darn sure it caused me some mental duress. I'm not used to just burning $71. But anyway, I've got one more angle of attack on that I'm going to try and see if I can get my money back. And maybe I will, maybe I won't. Anyway, politics. There's an election coming up. And of course, I'm a Democrat. They run a baboon. I'll vote for him. Appears like Hillary's on the main track for the nomination. Hillary wins, I'll vote for her. She might not be my favorite pick in the Democrats. I like, can't think of his name, Vice President. Well, isn't that interesting? What is the man's name? Well, I'll have to leave that till further time. Should have wrote it down. I have these little gaffes now. I think it's age. But one of the things I looked up, the two guys that I think that are officially running on the Republican side at the moment. There's a lot more. Ted Cruz and Rand Paul. And actually, I could vote Republican these guys weren't so dead set on doing a couple of things. Now, one of the things they want, both of them want to do, is modify Social Security. And this is Ted Cruz and Rand Paul, Republicans. And one of the things that they insist on, change that this guy thinks is this is Ted Cruz, and Rand Paul thinks the same way. He thinks is absolutely critical is to allow taxpayers to have a portion of Social Security funds to go in a personal account that they could own and control. Sounds good. I mean, really, it sounds good. Hey, say 50% of what I pay into Social Security would be not taken out, therefore I would, my income would increase. But then it would be my responsibility to invest, save, whatever. That might not be that big. It might only be 25% or 15%, but I'm going to say 50% because probably the way they think this is what they want. Okay, now I've got 50% of the money that's taken out and put into Social Security funds just doled back to me for me to handle. Put into a retirement fund, which would be a good idea. Except the large plurality, I would say, a large section of the American public would not, could not, aren't competent to handle this money. A lot of them live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, they get a paycheck, they spend every dime of it. And if you gave them essentially an increase in salary by diverting back the money out of the Social Security fund, first off, it would help wreck the Social Security system faster because the money flow into it would be reduced by 10, 15, 20, 50%. So it would go broke earlier. And then a large majority of the people that received this money ostensibly to create their own retirement system, which couldn't be messed up by the government, they would just spend the money. Buy another 6-pack of beer, buy a gun, buy a pickup. It would just be a pay increase to them. And when they got to their old age, we'll say that they moved the retirement age of Social Security from 55 to 65, which that's what they want to do. I think they want to move to 67. But anyway, when these blokes would get to 65 or 67, they wouldn't have anything. I mean, zip. Or at least, if the Social Security system was still working, it would be a half or a third of what it would be if all the money had been put into it. So, this is like a death wish. I can't imagine how an educated person would assume, and I'm assuming Ted Cruz and Rand Paul are both educated people. I can't imagine how they would assume that this would be beneficial. I don't think they do. Not at all. They are hard, right-wing, do-it-yourself people. And, when I was growing up, I was born right at the end of the Great Depression, 1939. And I grew up with in an environment with adults that had lived through the Great Depression. And they were, what's the word I'm looking for? They were just deformed. The Great Depression affected them something awful. 25% of the American public didn't have jobs. 1 out of every 4 people didn't have jobs. During that time frame, there was a great chance there'd be a revolution in this country because there were so many people that were riding the rails and just living in, shanty towns out by the railroad tracks and everything. And Roosevelt came along. He was voted in because he said, I'll make it better. And after fact, he did. He started a lot of social welfare, social support programs. He created the CCC. That's a bunch of guys. They took unemployed people and put them in camps and took them out, and they built roads and swimming pools and parks and stuff like that. But they didn't pay a lot, but they got fed, they got clothed, they got a few bucks in their pocket. A lot of them think it was the best time in their life. Anyway, I grew up during the time frame when these people were adults. And I can tell you that they think that these social welfare programs, the New Deal and such as that, was the greatest thing ever happened. And the Republicans have been trying ever since Roosevelt implemented these programs to back these down, tear them apart, do away with them, and because they think that pure capitalism is the way to go. Well, pure capitalism almost wrecked the country back in the 30s. And these gentlemen, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Rick Perry, these guys, they didn't live through that period. They're much younger than me. They're 30, 40 years younger than me. And so they didn't experience the desperation that went into effect when that Great Depression was there. They think that like the Roaring Twenties was the greatest thing. It was pure capitalism. Everybody was living on the fat of the land, rah, rah, rah. And they actually are of the opinion that if Roosevelt left it alone, the country would have recovered on its own. Hogwash. So, these guys are regressive, reactionary, They want to go back to the old times. Everybody is left to his own means, and if you don't go out and pull your weight, tough stuff. So that seems to be the general direction that the Tea Party and all these lunatics that are taking over the Republican Party are going. All Republicans have not always been that way. I mean, there's been Republicans, even Barry Goldwater, and he was an ultimate conservative. He would not have come up with the agendas that these guys are pushing. So anyway, so far we got Ted Cruz and Rand Paul. Let me see what they want to do with Social Security. Hang on here. I'm looking at Rand Paul now. Let's see what we got here. Well, maybe he doesn't have an opinion on Social Security. Nope. Don't see much here. Well, let me see. We'll go back to Ted Cruz. He's a real Looney Tune. Well, all I've got is Ted Cruz on Social Security. Isn't that bright? I know that both of them want to turn Medicare into a voucher system, which is crazy, because of course their intent is to reduce the government financial input into the program. And of course, I've got a lot of good friends that are just slightly younger than me, and they think, hey, they are the smartest people. But all these people are going to the hospital and being taken care of on Medicare. They don't seem to realize that if they voucherize Medicare, then they're going to have to take more money out of their pocket, providing they have it. Healthcare is extremely expensive, astronomically expensive. That's because, of course, we didn't go into socialized medicine 40, 50 years ago like the Europeans did, and the cost of medicine and medical care has skyrocketed because it's for profit. But over the years, Medicare has just paid them. Price went up, they went up. Well, it's pretty costly now, and they've got a whole mess of old farts coming online that are going to really tap into that system. So what do? We reduce the amount of money that we pay the medical system for the procedures they do. Maybe that'll work, maybe it won't. Maybe they'll just happily reduce the price on an appendectomy, which how many people at 70 years old have an appendectomy, but we have colon cancer and kidney failure, and we have some real deadly things going on. And if the government changes the Medicare system into a voucher system, which would essentially reduce the amount of money that the government commits to helping us survive, then we're either going to have to pay for it or we die. And there is probably 80% of the country that can't afford it. We'll say 70. Medical care is so astronomically expensive that if what we essentially would be a copay, because we now have a voucher which doesn't pay the full bill, is, you got a procedure that is $14,000, and they give you a voucher for $5,000. You got an $8,000 gap there. There's very few people out there that are in the old workaday world, the middle class, can afford continuing slap of $8,000 to $10,000 a month. They either die. No, they die. If the government wouldn't pay for it, yeah, they couldn't find a charitable organization that would pick up the slack. They just die. And this is a prospect that I see if they voucherize Medicare. It's criminal. So, don't vote for them. Now, how do we get in this kind of shape? Tax base gone in the tank. Starting with Nixon and Reagan, they made it profitable to outsource jobs to the Pacific Rim, Mexico. I hate to say it, but my man Clinton was instrumental in that with NAFTA too. But most of the good-paying laboring jobs, union jobs, that were in effect in the 40s, 50s, 60s, were outsourced to Pacific Rim and Mexico, South America. And all those people that used to have those laboring jobs, that paid taxes, that paid for Medicare, and put the money in Social Security so it would be there when they retired. Those people lost their jobs. And so the tax base is gutted. How do we fix this? Oh, yeah. I'm only hope would be only hope to rectify this, to put our people back to work in regular labor type jobs, is to tariff things like tires. You know, Akron, Ohio, once upon a time was the tire capital of the world. Well, all tires are made in Japan and China now. Put a tariff on those tires. Make the Japanese and the Chinese tires cost enough to where you could put the American workers back to work and living wage, and then they'd be able to pay taxes, and some of these fiscal problems we're having would be alleviated. Bring back NASA to full funding. I think everybody's aware of the fact that when NASA was really running and we were shooting those expensive rockets into space and all that, the collateral industries and jobs and technologies that were generated really had us ginning along. Most of this little camera I've got here and all our computers and the heart monitor, what is it, pacemaker that they're probably going to put in me, and in not too distant future, and all that stuff came out of the space race. Let's go to Mars. I mean, the money invested will come back tenfold. Let's see. Yeah, begin the reconstruction of our national infrastructure. Let's do that. Go out. I mean, we got bridges falling down with people with cars on. What is it, 3-4 years ago up in Minnesota or someplace, Interstate 35, and people going across the bridge, the thing goes, killed 15, 20 folks. I mean, our infrastructure is in the tank. One of the things we could do is start desalinating water. The folks in California would go for it. I guarantee you, put them together, building desalination plants down on our Gulf Coast. I mean, we'd never be out of water. Fix the highways, fix the dams. We've got some dams in this country. One that comes to mind is Glen Canyon Dam. It's a good many years ago that I was up in Utah, Glen Canyon Dam, and they were talking about letting water out because the dam was kind of deteriorating. Glen Canyon is above Boulder. They block the Colorado River, and I know the Glen Canyon Dam needs refurbishing real bad. Now maybe they've done it. I haven't read about it, but things such as that will put people to work. Yeah, I know that town up in Glen Canyon. I can't think of this town right there. You can sit and eat dinner and look out at the dam. But if there was a big crew of people up there working on that dam, all the businesses in that town would thrive, and they'd pay more taxes. Anytime you invest in the infrastructure of your nation, the money comes back about 3 or 4 times. So we need to do that. Anyway, don't vote for Republicans. They want to screw up the country the worst kind of way. It'd just be another case of the rich get richer. And I know that that's one of the problems we've had with this nation. Anyway, I'm going to quit because I'm rambling. But don't vote Republican. I want to say hi to J.T. Anderson. That's my brother-in-law over here east of me in Texas. Hi, J.T. You're watching. John Zimbardi up in, well, he might still be in Florida, but I think he's up at Rod and Gun, up Little Valley. Hi, John. See you in about 3 months. Brian Terrell Cooter. Brian has gone out and found us a new. We've had a radio club for years. Both of it. Well, I got my amateur license about, 20 years ago, I guess now. But Brian just recently got his. And I always had some hats made with our numbers on them and thunderbolts, really garish looking things. But the outfit that made my hats said, we don't want to do that anymore. Brian found another place to do it. And he had 2 hats made there, and they're every bit as good as anything I ever had, made and cheaper too. So, thank you, Brian. Crystal, down at the clinic, top of the day to you. My sons Kyle and Carl. Happy birthday, Kyle. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my son of mine. Happy birthday to you. I don't know how to do it. Tracy, see, I'm still here. Thank you for the little jab there. I needed it. Richard Heitzenreger. Way to go, Duke. Richard's a latter day, I think he's a fellow at Duke University. Anyway, Richard's a smart guy. I'm glad they won. Ike, top of the day to you. Richard Stenta. Call you on the phone here just next few days. Daryl Mackey. Tyler. Carl in Bradford. Hope all's going well for you. Hope your daddy's okay. Once again, I'm probably going to go to either Jamestown or Dunkirk. I'm really thinking of Dunkirk for the my dialysis up there this year. Jim Kersey, top of the day to you. I've kind of improved on this business that I was experiencing. I think it's still there, but it's not fluttering and skipping every third beat. So can't be too bad wrong with me, because I did have a appointment with the cardiologist on Tuesday. They moved it back to April the 30th, so I guess they figure I'll last till then. Ray Marshall, hi gal. Barbara Mannion, I don't think you're probably not watching. John Gleiser, top of the day to you. Dan, my bro, if you're watching, hi guy. Boy, I saw that picture of you. Man, you lost some weight. Holy cow. Paulette, top of the day to you. Saw that one out there in the backyard in front of the, oh, what is that thing? Shoot. Great, it ain't Yellowstone, it's the other mountain thing. Anyway, look good. Russ Shoebotham. That's my fellow left-wing pinko. Gail Minikine. Whatever happened to Gail Minikine? If there's a Minikine watching, am I just misreading the Minikine? Is that Gail? John Dooley. And that ought to do it. All you folks out there, try to see to it that, boy, I wish, what's her face, Elizabeth Warren would run. I saw her last night. I was on YouTube. That's a smart lady. My goodness. If she ran against Hillary, I hate to say it, Hillary, but she's quite a lady. I think she could absolutely ensure till we win the next election. She is on her gang. Anyway, top of the day, folks. Don't vote Republican.